Wizards are out of Washington to take on their Eastern Conference rival in today's game. We are live at the American Airlines Arena, where the Heat have home court advantage. Looking forward to the weekend. Great to have you with us here on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. Glad to bring you the NBA. So a look at the starters for the Wizards. John Wall and Nick Young are the backcourt. Raj and McGee up front, and it's Lewis in at the 3, the small forward. And for the Heat, Wade and LeBron are the wingmen. Joel Anthony is out there with Chris Bosh, and it's Chalmers in at the point. And Wall kicks to Young from past the arc. That's good. And so Wall with the assist. Young's got the first 3 points of the night up on the board for the Wizards.
And the Wizards are in full rebuilding mode now. And they did draft John Wall, the point guard of the future. And I think unloading Gilbert Arenas' contract last season was important too for future cap purposes.
And here's Wall. After Dwayne Wade hitting the 3. Here's Blatch. And the first shot of the night for him, no good. Now Wade. And getting back to that trade, you know, Rashard Lewis might not be a difference maker, but really it was about getting Gilbert Arenas' contract, Clark, clear.
Yeah, you've got to look at trades from multiple dimensions because it's not always about just the players or the draft picks. A lot of times there is an economic or salary cap ingredient to it. So I think you're right. It was probably more about the Arenas contract. And I think that's a nice move. Again, it's one of the pieces you have to put in place to have a chance to build going forward.
But that's really a nice point about, you know, being in a front office like you are in the NBA. You do have a completely different perspective of what a trade can mean. Not just the players involved, but all the ramifications.
Exactly. You got to look at all the dimensions of it.
We'll go to Doris Burke, who moments ago spoke with head coach Flip Saunders. And Doris, what do you have to say?
Kevin, he told me that it's no secret what their bread and butter is defensively. It's our ability to influence shots, frustrate their shooters, and come away with blocks. And he told me we can expect to see plenty of that today. Guys?
Great stuff, Doris. Thanks. That's a mantra. Clark, we're going to hear, I think, a lot from coaches. Defense first.
Yeah, you hear it all the time, Kevin. And that's the identity they want to have today. And I think it'll work for them as long as they execute it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one thing to say it, but you got to bring it. And I think this team has to show great energy and aggression early on if they're going to win this game.
You know, it's hard to not know that the Southeast was going to be tough with Miami's rise, and it clearly was. I mean, it just wasn't too hard for them.
But they get it back. Outside Lewis, and again, Washington with the triple.
Little slow on the defensive rotation there.
Not a fast start here for the Heat. It's a 5-point game. Like you talked about the Heat and the Southeast Division. 13-3 record for them there last year, Steve.
Well, very weak division. Other than Atlanta, you're looking at a soft schedule. Charlotte, Washington. So Miami took advantage.
Here's Wall. Right around. 3 minutes left here in the opening quarter. Back to Blatch. Wade is covering. To the middle. LeBron knocks it away. On defense, Washington. 3-point lead. And LeBron throws it down hard. Big time action. Sprite Slam Cam once again. Here is Wall. Defended by Chalmers. Wall up top. Wade is covering. He goes up. Young passes to Blatch. Pass to Wall. Over Chalmers. And Wall gets it to go in on the assist by Blatch. Here's LeBron. LeBron right side. Back to Anthony. Lewis against Bosh. Three-pointer. Wade kept alive. Another shot. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line.
Well, that should be a rule. No layups. Protect the paint. Make them earn every point.
Yeah, I think that's just tough, hard-nosed, smash-mouth basketball. Make your opponent earn their points from the line. Don't give up any layups.
Udonis Haslem, he's checked in for Joel Anthony. E.G. and Lee, and he's checked in for Washington. Howard comes in for Rashard Lewis. Outside, Wall. Backing down is Howard. Over LeBron. Miami grabs the miss.
You know, you take a look at the makeup of the Heat and the offensive numbers last year. Not a ton of assists, but a lot of free throw attempts. FTAs, we call them. Seemed like they just played to their strengths, and a lot of that was isolating their star player. You know, he didn't need to make the layup complicated. I mean, it's not a trick shot contest, but he decided to go for a little extra flavor on that one.
Wade dishes to LeBron. Fires for three. Miami no good on that time either. Well, Clark, you mentioned that stat about the Heat. Steve, surprising they didn't have more assists.
Well, they didn't have a true point guard running things. Mike Bibby was more of a jump shooter, same with Chalmers. But I think a lot of it is that they play very isolation-heavy basketball, as Clark mentioned.
And that one's good. Howard's got his first basket.
Only question there was who was going to finish it. Easy, fast break.
Yeah, you know what? And I think they made the right call there, Steve.
The three from LeBron gets it to go.
You know, he's definitely a catalyst for their offense, guys. I mean, he is so talented. He really causes problems for the other team's defense.
And Wall kicks to Young. Wade is covering. Back to Wall. Kicks it to Young. Over Wade. Good D by Wade.
They got that rebound, but this is not how they wanted to start the game in terms of hitting the glass.
Yeah, it's about time they actually got a rebound. It's time to get physical here in this game. Well, they've got to do something defensively because he's been unstoppable.
And defensively, Steve, your only choice now is to double him. I mean, I don't think there's another option.
Chalmers against Wall. From the arc. No good trying to beat the buzzer. Plenty of offense in this closely contested first quarter of play. It's the Heat up one.
And they set the tone.
And we got a close game here as we get back to the second quarter. The Heat with the lead. All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade as the second quarter gets going. So on the floor for Washington. Wall and Crawford to the backcourt set. Howard is out there with G and Lip, and he flushes it through. Sprite Slam Cam with the replay.
Well, that's a dunk you will not see very often. You won't pass that one by.
No doubt about that.
I wish he would, though. You can never see too many of those.
Anthony kicks to House. Puts up a three. No good. And it's the Wizards taking it the other way. Let's check out what Doris Burke has for us.
Well, Kevin, some may have questioned Coach Eric Spoelstra throughout the 2010-2011 campaign, but LeBron James was sold from the get-go. His quote towards Spoelstra, "I have Coach Spro's back," or whatever the case may be. James said, "This is who we have." Sounds like he's confident enough, Kevin.
All right, Doris.
Yeah, I think Eric Spoelstra did a really good job under very difficult circumstances a year ago. And by the end of the season, I think he really earned the trust of those players. Even in transition, a wide open three is tough to pass up. Well, it's been a tough few years for the Washington Wizards, but last season was important, finding their point guard of the future in John Wall. Now the question mark is, can they surround Wall with enough talent to become a playoff contender?
The three is launched. Yes, and it's LeBron picking up the assist.
This is really the story of the game here. They've been excellent from behind the arc.
Steve, back to Wall and Rose. You know, Chicago certainly laid the blueprint out for the Wizards last year.
You know, I think the Rose and Wall comparison is a good one because both guys are transcendent type point guards, I think, and also have really good leadership qualities. So if the Wizards can build some talent and get some talent around Wall, then they'll be well on their way maybe to duplicating what the Bulls have been able to do.
He had no luck from the three-point line earlier, so maybe this one will give him some momentum.
House, the pass to Anthony. A stupendous finish in traffic. Here's Wall. Fires top of the key. It's hauled in by Dwayne Wade.
Well, it was a tough season for the Washington Wizards a year ago, but John Wall certainly had his glimpses of stardom. In fact, the third game of his career, he had 29 points, 13 assists, and 9 steals in one game.
And back to Wall for just a second. Steve was talking about him. His whole entrance, Clark, into the NBA really showed what he'll be capable of down the road.
You know, Kevin, to touch on that fast start, he was the first rookie since the Big O, Oscar Robertson, to have 7 assists or more in his first 5 NBA games. Not many guards burst onto the scene like that. You know, you think about how young the Wizards were and how much growing they've still got to do. It certainly caused their opponents to kind of salivate a little bit in the East, being able to take advantage of that.
Catching up on the changes with Miami. Chris Bosh is checked in for LeBron. Miller comes in for Dwayne Wade. And it's Chalmers in for Eddie House. No good at the stripe this time. Second misses also. Well, you're right, Clark, talking about the Wizards in the Eastern Conference. They didn't get a lot of breaks as they went meandering through that conference. Steve, it's not going to get any easier. The East seems to be building in strength.
Yeah, the conference is getting better, and Washington still trying to improve. Now, John Wall will help them get better this year, but this is a team that's definitely in a transition mode. 16 and 36 last year against the East. That's got to improve.
Excellent awareness there to spot the open teammate and lob it ahead for the bucket. That's a nice play.
And the basket by Chalmers. And the Heat lead by 6. So it's Washington now. They trail by 6. So timeout called here. The first for Washington.